night except for the drive here, dude. Like, I don't know if it was the rain or some other R word, but people were driving real dumb. I could never drive again in my entire life, and I would be completely fine with that. Right? And the state of Texas agrees with me, because I keep getting in car accidents. I thought you looked familiar. No, dude. The worst part about getting in a car wreck is you get in the same conversation with every single person you talk to, because they're like, oh my God, are you okay? And all these idiots on the road nowadays. And I bet that asshole was texting and driving. And I was. I've learned my lesson with the texting and driving though, dude. Like, honestly, it just makes the Netflix screen way too small. Can't even keep up with the plot. It is not worth it. I'm kidding. If the idea of me Netflix and driving is bumming you out, you can relax, because I cannot afford Netflix. You just keep raising the price on that shit. It's crazy. I had to quit Netflix recently, but I didn't quit cold turkey. I still have Hulu. I think we can all agree that's like the methadone of streaming services. And I still keep Disney Plus on hand because I like to think of Disney Plus a lot like I think of weed. It's really fun when we were kids. Now I mostly just like to have it to go to sleep at night. I actually really do watch a lot of movies, that's true. And I realized recently that I cry so much more at movies now as an adult than I ever did as a kid. And it's weird, right? Like, not the ones you'd expect. Like, I don't cry during, like, The Lion King, but the other night I cried when Daniel LaRusso won the All Valley Karate Tournament. At the end of the Karate Kid Part 3. So obviously a couple of us shed a tear or two in the first one. But by the third one, he's not even an underdog anymore, y'all. He's like the karate man at this point. But I know why I cry more as an adult than I did as a kid, and it's just simply because I grew up as a guy in the 90s. And growing up as a guy in the 90s, you were only allowed to have one of three feelings, right? You were allowed to feel happy, you were allowed to feel angry, or you were allowed to feel your dad's belt on the back of your ass. Ooh, you can tell which part of the room was beating his children. I can still see the belt mark. Oh yeah, dude. No, it's crazy actually. I grew up thinking that like my dad is like the smartest guy in the world. Like nothing he couldn't fix, right? But I called him up recently because I had an outlet go in my kitchen, and what he says to me is, "Well, son, if I was you, I'd stick a screwdriver in there and see if sparks come out." Shocked me too, guys. Can hear where that's a slow burn for part of the room. Which reminds me, I had to call my dad back to get advice on how to put out a fire. I'm legitimately starting to worry that I have a lot more residual redneck in my system than I once realized. Like, I'm gonna blow your mind real quick. Did y'all know that you can buy ketchup? Not a part to laugh at. I am dead serious right now. This comes in a bottle at the store and everything. My entire life, I've just been collecting packets every time I go through a McDonald's. It's crazy. It's weird too. I actually think it might go deeper than I realized because, like, I got to hang out with my grandparents recently. And first of all, my grandpa is just a pretty difficult dude for me to connect with because he's always complaining. He's like, "Man, your generation, you're always complaining about being like broke and sad," and I'm like, "No, man, you got it backwards. We're sad because we're broke." Like, it's so easy to catch a big mood when I can't afford a Big Mac. But the worst part, I realized this last Christmas that my grandparents are a little bit more racist than I remember. Some of you all got racist grandparents. I really hope there aren't any racist grandparents here tonight, because this part will be a little bit awkward for you, I'm not gonna lie. And to be clear, my parents aren't like saying the N-word racist, but I'm sorry, my grandparents, so they do say the blacks a little too casually. I was so relieved when I met their neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Black. A Scottish couple moved in next door, is what happens. I just really wish they'd quit robbing my grandparents. I go to see a lot of movies with my grandpa, but man, he complains during a lot of movies, which is weird. We recently saw Bad Boys Part 4 together, and he complained during the entire film. I'm just gonna say this, if you see any movie with the number 4 in the title, like be it Bad Boys 4 or Minions 4 or Fantastic 4, it's probably gonna disappoint you a little bit, like lower your expectations. But it got me in a conversation about who's the worst person to see a movie with. And it came down to be between boomers and toddlers. And honestly, it's almost the same experience. It's a lot of questions that they can answer themselves if they just shut the fuck up and listen to the movie. Right? But when I was thinking about it, for me, it's slightly worse. It comes down to it's slightly worse to see a movie with a boomer. It's just because I'm afraid to hit a boomer. Dude, if I have to go toe-to-toe with a toddler, I'm betting on me. But, like, boomers have been through some shit, all right? Like, I don't know if I want to stir the hornet's nest. Unless it's a war of words. Because that's a completely different situation. Honestly, boomers kind of suck at that. They say things like, pick yourself up by your bootstraps, or don't buy coffee and you can afford a house. It's dumb. But toddlers will just say the meanest thing directly to your face, and it is brutal. Dude, I was at a CC's Pizza the other day. All you can eat buffet, I'm on my first plate. And this little 3-year-old walks up to the table and is just like, wow, mister, you're fat! I was done mid-breadstick, dude. Like, I didn't even finish it. I actually went to the bathroom and returned some of what I already had. Any other bulimics in the room? Maybe a couple in the bathroom? Good job, guys. No, I'm actually really excited that the weather's getting warm again. I hope it stays warm because I just learned the hard way last summer that I now have too much side boob to wear a tank top. This is not a body image issue. I obviously have those, but this isn't that. Like, this is just because I am so sick and tired of every time I go out to eat, somebody is like, ma'am, you are going to need to cover up if you want to dine in here. And I get it. I understand what I look like. Like, honestly, I went to the restroom earlier. I walked out. I made eye contact with a woman, and then I saw her turn around and make sure she was going to the right place. I get it. It's actually been getting worse for me, too, because I've been gaining weight, and the curvier I get, the more often I get confused as a lesbian. That is just a whole new demographic of women for me to disappoint y'all. Because, like, regardless if people think I'm a dude or a lesbian, they always have this really weird expectation that I'm going to know how to fix stuff. My whole garage situation is just a shoebox full of those little wrenches that come with IKEA furniture, y'all. I'm not your man or your woman for the job, is what I'm trying to say. I've been trying to make changes. I've actually been swimming laps trying to lose weight, but I had a really weird experience recently because a very pregnant woman showed up and got in the lane next to me, and she told me that she was there to swim out the baby. I was not okay, but you know what that is? You don't do it in a public pool. I'm pretty sure. But I will say, I felt pretty good about the way I handled it. I was pretty responsible. I was disgusted, but I kept my mouth shut. But I did go home and I tweeted about it. And I got destroyed in the comments. Like, honestly, women were saying things to me like, you're very immature and you don't know how a woman's body works. And I'm pretty sure it was her. And I'm not mad. I'm not mad about it. You're right. You're right. But I will say this, I am not immature because I think it's in poor taste for a woman to poop out her placenta in a public pool. No. No, guys, I am immature because I don't feel guilty at all that I peed in that pool. Guys, anybody else ever feel like a Walmart person trying to make it in the Target world? Dante mentioned it, guys. I actually do have my very first special coming out. It's called Walmart Person. It'll be available on YouTube on Tuesday, but it's true. I feel like a Walmart person trapped in a Target world. And the worst part about it is we just lost the one thing we had on Target, people. 24 hours, man, it's gone. Who misses 24-hour shopping? Right, dude? I don't know about y'all, but I'm the type of stoner that I like to get a little bit high and knock my grocery list out at like 2, 3 in the morning. Yeah? And the weird thing is, I show up to Walmart one night and the door's open. So I went about my business and I don't realize I'm the only person in the store who's taking things off the shelf instead of putting them back on the shelf. Yeah, it's not until it's time for me to like check out, right? And like, I go up to somebody, I'm like, hey man, do you work here? They're like, do you not work here? The self-checkout count? But like, if you're gonna be that high in public at that time of night, there's some stoner etiquette that you need to follow, right? Like, 2, 3 in the morning, I'm that high, I'm not making eye contact with anybody. It is the floor and the Funyuns and nowhere in between. When I'm not doing this, I actually work in a bar downtown. I had some out-of-towners come in recently, and I offered them our special. It was a Texas margarita with a swirl. Woo! Damn, you heard all of my jokes. That's crazy. I didn't know I had a stalker. That's awesome. I hope you earn the rest, frankly. Let's fucking, you know, I got a second mic. We'll make this a 2-man show. Yeah. No, but it was I offered them our special, Texas margarita with a swirl. They looked at me like a little bit weird. They agreed to try it, and then they take one sip and they go, wow, you can barely even taste the squirrel. These people thought I offered them a margarita with a mammal in it. And they still agreed to try it. Dude, I was terrified when they asked for a Moscow Mule. I'm actually a craft beer drinker. I really love like IPAs and stuff. I get really annoyed though when I go to breweries because breweries always like try to pitch they've got like a special story, it's all cute and whatever. Every brewery has the same story, dude. It's a couple of guys that like beer a little bit too much. And they like have the choice of like open a brewery or go to a lot of boring meetings. Right? Like I'm pretty sure it's like 12 steps to recover. It's like 3 or 4 steps tops to open a brewery. All right, like calm down. You're not the heroes you present yourself to be. I do think though, I think that the names of beer are getting a little weird. They're getting a little out of hand because it sort of feels like my bartender and my pot dealer are in some sort of weird competition to sell me the silliest sounding shit. Yeah, right? Dude, when I got here tonight, Allie behind the bar offered me some sticky, icky Funkadelic. Was that an indica or an IPA? I have no idea. I knew the answer is yes. I got that part down. I actually had a really weird encounter recently because I tried to buy beer at the 7-Eleven by my house, and they told me that they're not allowed to sell alcohol because there's a church right across the street. That's a weird rule, right? Like, don't you think the world might be a better place if churches weren't allowed to sell bullshit across the street from 7-Elevens? Be honest, that's my favorite joke. It's my favorite joke because it either gets a laugh, which I appreciate, or it gets me added to some prayer circles, which is also nice. So I do go by Mr. Most Days Off online, guys. Mr. Most Days Off is just a really fun way of saying unemployed. So, on that note, if you want to follow me, I'm actually out in the lobby. I'll be selling stickers, and I mentioned my special comes out on YouTube for free on Tuesday. But if you want a DVD tonight, I'll give you one if you give me some money. Like, we'll figure out how much later. I haven't really figured that out yet. But I'll be out there, and I'd love to sell you one. It's 35 minutes. You've heard some of it. You haven't. The rest, it'll be great. Or you can get really high and laugh anyway. That's what I was going to do. Guys, am just going to confess something right now to this room because I feel ready for it. I love Taylor Allison Swift. I do. I love Taylor Allison Swift. Taylor Swift is so good, dude. But I actually really got into Taylor Swift, not because of her music, which is awesome, great music, but I got into Taylor Swift because I really love conspiracy theories. And she puts like Easter eggs into everything. It's like her albums are made out of red thread. It's amazing, dude. But I realized that I may have gotten a little bit too into Taylor Swift. And her music really gives me the same, the Easter egg stuff gives me the same feeling that like those 9/11 conspiracy videos used to back in the day. But I realized that if Taylor Swift were to call me on the phone and be like, hey, I need you to fly a plane into a building, I'd assume she had a good reason and I'd head to the airport. Guys, I think what I'm trying to say is I've become radicalized, Taylor's version. My name is Miles Francis. Thank you so much.